Massachusetts Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll is our guest this morning. Let's go on the record. The former mayor of Salem knows the nuts and bolts of budget building. Now Governor Healey needs her to make it work on the statewide level. How's it going so far? The LG is HERE. Let's go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Welcome to OTR, everyone. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Sharmin Cecchetти. It's great to have you with us. And joining us this morning is Kim Driscoll. She took office as the state's lieutenant governor in January. Before that, as you know, she served as mayor of Salem for, 17 years? 17 years. Born in Hawaii. Her father is a Navy veteran. She holds degrees from Salem State University and the Massachusetts School of Law. And still a resident of Salem, right?
Love the city.
Love the city. Very good. It's great to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
Great to see you.
Thanks for being here. So let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's start with the MBTA. Sure. So last week, material known as a bridge joint fell from a bridge deck at the Forest Hills T-stop, landing on the platform. Thankfully, nobody was injured, but it wasn't a good look, and especially since a week before, a ceiling panel came crashing down at Harvard Station, which that also was a very close call. And these slow zones are still in effect. So the administration is taking some heat. Still no transportation safety chief, still no general manager. What is happening right now to fix this?
You know, the MBTA for us is definitely a serious issue. We are working very hard to make sure we find new leadership and are taking these issues very seriously in terms of ensuring that we have people on the ground who are communicating what's happening. These slow zones, we know they're frustrating for riders. I take the commuter rail into the State House often, and you know, frankly, the commuter rail has not received as much of the challenges because it's been just a different line. But we're taking these things seriously. We know it's frustrated, and we are working hard to find the right leadership in all of those positions, and we know we'll have announcement soon.
How soon do you think?
Oh, it's days. It's definitely days. We're really close. We want to find the right leader. We've said from the beginning for all of our positions in the cabinet.
The governor respectfully has said days, weeks ago.
Right, and there's a process to this. We want to make sure we find the best team possible. That's been true with all of our cabinet secretariats. And so it's not about going quick. It's about making sure that we're taking the due diligence to find the right leader. You don't want to have the wrong person and then have to move out.
But expand the clock even more. And I know the governor was elected in November, wasn't sworn in until January, but for all intents and purposes, she's been governor since the middle of last year, effectively. She was the front runner and all of that. So wouldn't it be in the back of your mind, you'd have, okay, I'm going to hire Sharmin Cecchetti to run the T for me when I'm governor?
Look, there's one governor at a time. We didn't take office until January 5th, and we have been working really hard to make sure we understand what the challenges are and how best we can find leaders that can fix them. And we've been committed to that work, and you know, we're on it. This is a serious issue. We know how important it is. You've heard the governor say many, many times, we can't have a functioning economy without a functioning T. We take that very seriously.
Can you have a functioning T?
Absolutely. This is a transit system that is so necessary, not only to our workforce needs, but for people who need to get to the hospital, to need to get to schools. We are focused on this, having the right leadership, making sure we're building out a pipeline of people. A lot of this is workforce related. We don't have enough individuals working at the MBTA right now, and we have the people who are there super dedicated. A lot of folks working really hard.
I just want to follow up because these slow zones, the interim general manager, Jeff Gonneville, had said he expected, you know, some of these inspections could take a few days. And now it's been more than a week. And so are you any closer to finding out what happened here? This appears to be someone dropped the ball when it comes to documentation.
Yeah, there's definitely an investigation underway to, you know, systems, processes, people who were or were not doing what they needed to do. That is underway right now. And then there's a tremendous amount of work going on to address these slow zones. A lot of lines have been put back online. Initially, it was global, where now it's much more localized. And so we still have impacts, certainly for sure, but we're getting better at it, I'd say, every day, every week, making these repairs.
Item 2 is housing. It's under the general umbrella of housing. But some Massachusetts towns are pushing back on a state law that would bring more multifamily housing areas close to MBTA stations, which sounds practical. So as a former mayor of a city in this state who ran a city with a commuter rail station, how does the administration navigate through this?
Yeah, I was the mayor of a city that just didn't have a commuter rail station. It had the #1 commuter rail station in terms of ridership. And we think it's vitally important that we have more housing in this state. That's why we've focused on filing new legislation to create a housing secretariat who can work directly on focusing on production. Over the last decade, Massachusetts has not built enough housing. When we don't have enough housing and people are living longer, we don't have the type of housing we need, it creates just immense pressure on rents, on the cost of housing. We have to work on production. This housing secretariat and resources are going to go toward ensuring we're working with all of our communities. Out of the 175 MBTA communities, only 2 so far haven't complied. So we're well underway to making sure we have both relationships, resources, and capacity to enhance housing.
The Attorney General says that she might sue the non-compliant cities and towns. Do you support that?
Well, it is a law that exists, and the penalties right now are a reduction of grants, and it's a requirement. This is not an option to comply or not. So the vast majority have, right? We're talking about 2 communities, and we're doing outreach to them to see if we can bring them along. But keep in mind, housing choice just creates zoning. It doesn't build housing. So the real work is going to be those partnerships where we're supporting both capacity building, that's technical assistance, that's sometimes infrastructure, sometimes there are wastewater or other challenges to putting housing online. We are all in to partnering with our local leaders and finding ways to develop additional housing in Massachusetts. Housing that we need. Anyone who hands you anything over a counter, you're going to drop your children off, or maybe folks are helping you take care of older adults. They can't afford to live in Massachusetts. We all need to be concerned about that, and we all need to play a part in fixing it.
You say you want to bring them along, but Attorney General Campbell is essentially going to say, they're forcing their hand. She's threatening, state funding. She's threatening to sue them.
I heard the Attorney General say we're going to enforce the law. And so it's not an option. And most of the communities are there, and we're working in partnership to try and make sure housing actually gets built.
Let's talk about banks, because these are uncertain times for bank customers, and people are uneasy. The failure of, for example, Silicon Valley Bank had a significant impact here in Massachusetts. Many local startups, nonprofits, other businesses had their money tied up in SVB. State and federal leaders stepped in to stabilize the situation. Are you confident the banking crisis is under control, if I can ask it that way?
I mean, we feel very strongly that we have very good regional banks here. We are grateful. I mean, this weekend was all hands on deck. The governor, our federal delegation, our legislative delegation, our staff led by our Secretary Yvonne Howe. We couldn't have had a better person running Point. She comes from the private sector, from the VC world, really galvanizing the community together to better understand what are the needs, how are we going to assess them in Massachusetts and work together. The FDIC came in Sunday night, really protected all of our depositors, but it has set us up to say, hey, where are we going? And our regional banks are strong. We feel fortunate about the regional banks we have, and we're going to work in partnership to make sure we still have an innovation economy that can thrive, notwithstanding some of the concerns that we're currently seeing.
All right. State Auditor Diana DiZoglio, she has said recently she is ready to audit the legislature. She says transparency is her goal, and the State House is often too much of a closed-door operation. What's the administration's position on this?
Senator DiZoglio at the time, Senator, campaigned for auditor and talked a lot about auditing the legislature, the way that she was going to approach the job. So I don't think there's any surprises on our end about recent announcements relative to conducting audits, and we'll see how it shakes out. She's a separate constitutional office, but it certainly isn't anything that I think is unexpected, because she spent a lot of time talking about it.
Yeah, well, the House Speaker, the Senate President, and the Governor's office are all exempt from the public records law. Do you think that should be the case?
Well, I think the public records law exists for a reason. As a mayor, we complied with the public records law. As a city leader, we were required to do that. If this law were to change, I'm sure all of these offices would comply.
Let's go back to the budget for a little bit. Governor Healy has asked for $28 million to implement the program to allow undocumented immigrants to get state driver's licenses. Is that enough? First question is that enough?
Yes, there's a combination of resources that currently exist that were put in the budget previously, and these are additional resources when this law kicks in for July 1 to make sure we're ready and that no one's delayed by virtue of this. And just one really important point, the fees that are collected, the vast majority of the resources that we're asking to be allocated, we will be recouping when folks are coming in to obtain their licenses, like everybody else who goes to the RMV and pays a fee.
So you say yes, and all that infrastructure is in place. So here's the second part of the question.
Okay.
Will the registry be ready to handle it on July 1st?
Our registry leaders have been preparing for this, both in personnel. You also have individuals who are going to help with the driver's tests themselves, language acuity. So we are gearing up to make sure we're ready and have those adequate assets. These dollars are important to help make sure we can do that. And again, a lot of these resources are going to be recouped as members of the undocumented community come in to take those licenses or take their driving tests.